Ravi stepped off the small jeep and let out a deep breath, filling his lungs with the humid, earthy air of the jungle. The dense green stretched in every direction, sunlight barely reaching the thick carpet of ferns and moss below. He tightened his backpack straps and glanced at the map in his hand. These ruins were said to be ancient, hidden for centuries, and now it was his chance to explore them. His heart beat faster, not from fear, but from excitement. Every explorer dreamed of a place like this. As he adjusted his hat, he heard the rustling of leaves. From between the trees appeared a young woman carrying a small notebook and a satchel filled with plants. Her hair was tied back, and her eyes sparkled with curiosity. "Hello," she said with a gentle smile. "Are you looking for the ruins too?" Ravi smiled back. "Yes, I am. I'm Ravi." "And you?" "Meena," she replied. "I'm studying the plants around here. Some of them are very rare." Ravi nodded. "Then it seems we are both explorers in our own way." Meena laughed softly. "Yes, but I think your adventure might be more dangerous than mine." They began walking together, the jungle alive around them. Birds with bright feathers called from the tree tops, and the distant roar of a waterfall added music to the quiet adventure. Every step on the soft, mossy ground made them careful, but they enjoyed the thrill. After some time, Ravi spotted a line of moss-covered stones half hidden in the grass. "Look," he said. "This could be a path. Maybe it leads to the ruins." Meena leaned closer, examining the stones. "It could be. Or it could just be old jungle debris. But we can try." "Careful, some of these stones might be slippery." Step by step, they moved along the path. The deeper they went, the taller the trees became, their branches forming a natural roof above. Occasionally, a colorful butterfly flew past, and Ravi tried to point them out to Meena, but she was already observing a small flower near the ground, making notes. "You notice everything," Ravi said, smiling. "Even the smallest details." "And you notice the bigger picture," Meena replied. "We make a good team, don't you think?" Ravi felt a warmth spread in his chest. There was something about her that made the jungle feel less intimidating, less wild, and more like a place meant to be shared. As the sun began to dip toward the horizon, they reached a small clearing. In the center, partly covered by vines, were the first signs of the ruins: a broken stone wall and what appeared to be the entrance to a temple. The carvings were faded but intricate, showing figures holding hands, plants, and strange symbols. Ravi stepped closer, tracing the symbols with his fingers. "Incredible," he whispered. "These carvings, they tell a story. I wish I could understand it fully." Meena knelt beside him, brushing away some moss. "Even without reading it, you can feel the meaning. There is love and care and respect for nature. Look at how the plants and people are together." Ravi nodded. He felt a thrill of discovery, but also something more: a quiet connection between them. Standing in the shadow of the ruins, he realized that sharing this moment with someone who understood the wonder made it even more special. The light was fading, and shadows stretched across the stones. "We should set up camp for the night," Meena said. "It's too dangerous to go deeper in the dark." Ravi agreed. They cleared a small area and set up a modest campsite. As they ate simple rations, they talked about their past adventures, their dreams, and their reasons for exploring. Every story revealed another layer of their personalities, and Ravi found himself laughing at Meena's jokes, admiring her knowledge, and feeling the beginnings of something tender. After the meal, they sat near a small fire, listening to the jungle's nighttime symphony. The chirping of insects, the occasional call of a distant animal, and the rustling of leaves created a peaceful melody. Ravi glanced at Meena, her face glowing in the firelight. She looked at him and smiled, and for a moment, neither spoke. Words were unnecessary. The connection, the excitement of discovery, and the shared wonder of the ruins created a quiet bond between them. As he lay in his sleeping bag later that night, Ravi thought about the carvings, the jungle, and Meena. Tomorrow would be another day of exploration, but he knew one thing for certain: the adventure was no longer just about ruins. It was also about the journey with her, the laughter, the trust, and the small sparks that had begun to glow between them. And in that peaceful jungle night, Ravi felt the first true excitement of a journey that was both dangerous and beautiful, a journey of discovery, history, and something new growing quietly in his heart. The first light of dawn filtered through the dense jungle canopy, casting golden streaks across the campsite. Ravi rubbed his eyes, listening to the gentle sounds of the jungle waking up. Birds chirped, and somewhere in the distance, the roar of the waterfall echoed. He unrolled his sleeping bag and looked at Meena, who was already awake, carefully sketching the leaves of a rare plant she had spotted near the campsite. "Morning," Ravi said softly. Meena looked up and smiled. "Morning. Did you sleep well?" "Better than I expected," he replied. "Being here, it feels like a different world." Meena nodded, her eyes shining with excitement. "It is. And there is so much to discover. Come, I want to show you something I found yesterday." They packed up their small campsite and followed a narrow path Meena had noticed earlier. The jungle was alive with colors and sounds. Vines twisted around massive trees, and small flowers glowed faintly in the morning light. Ravi couldn't help but admire Meena's attention to detail. She pointed out a rare orchid growing on a fallen tree and explained how it survived in the shade. Ravi listened, fascinated, and offered to help her take notes and collect samples carefully, respecting the plants. "You really know your plants," he said. "I would have missed this entirely." "And you would have noticed the carvings no one else sees," Meena replied with a smile. "I think we make a good team." As they walked deeper into the jungle, they stumbled upon a series of stones partially covered by moss. Ravi knelt down, brushing the moss away to reveal more carvings. "Look at these," he said. "They show people moving in a kind of dance. It's beautiful. And look, the plants are part of the story too." Meena examined them closely. "Yes, they are showing harmony. People living with nature, not against it. This civilization must have loved their jungle." They followed the stone path further, stepping carefully over exposed roots and slippery rocks. Suddenly, a small group of monkeys appeared, chattering loudly and swinging from the branches above. One cheeky monkey grabbed a piece of Meena's notebook and darted away. Ravi laughed. "Looks like the jungle wants a piece of your work." Meena giggled, chasing after the monkey, her laughter ringing through the trees. Ravi ran after her, and soon they were both laughing so hard that they had to stop to catch their breath. The moment of shared joy made the jungle feel even more alive, and Ravi felt a warm connection with Meena growing stronger. Once the monkeys moved on, they continued along the path and arrived at a small clearing. Sunlight poured down, revealing a wall of the ruins, partially hidden by vines. The carvings here were even more intricate, showing scenes of community, shared work, and celebration. Ravi carefully traced the patterns with his fingers. "These ruins are incredible," he whispered. "Each carving tells a story. I feel like we are stepping into the lives of people from hundreds of years ago." Meena knelt beside him, brushing the dirt and moss from the carvings. And we are learning from them. Look how they valued teamwork, friendship, and love. It's inspiring. They spent hours examining the ruins, taking notes, and sketching the carvings. Sometimes their hands brushed, and they would exchange a shy smile. The excitement of discovery combined with their growing connection made the day feel magical. By late afternoon, they found a small stream running through the ruins. Mina knelt by the water, dipping her hands in the cool flow. Ravi joined her, and they laughed as the water splashed over their fingers. The jungle seemed to celebrate their discoveries, from the smallest flower to the hidden chambers of the ruins. Ravi, Mina said, looking into his eyes, I'm glad we found each other here. Exploring is better with someone who understands the beauty of it all. Ravi smiled, feeling a rush of warmth. I feel the same. It's not just the ruins or the jungle, it's everything, and you. As the sun began to set, they set up camp near the stream. They shared a simple meal, talking about the carvings they had seen, the plants Mina had studied, and the strange sounds of the jungle around them. Ravi realized that their partnership was becoming more than professional, it was personal, filled with trust, laughter, and subtle moments of closeness. Later, sitting by the fire, Ravi looked at Mina, the flickering flames reflecting in her eyes. Tomorrow, he said softly, we will explore the next part of the ruins. Who knows what secrets we will find? Mina nodded, leaning slightly closer. And whatever we find, we will face it together. The night fell over the jungle, wrapping them in a blanket of sounds, smells, and shadows. In that moment, Ravi felt the true joy of discovery, not just of ancient ruins, but of a friendship, a partnership, and the quiet beginnings of a bond that promised more than either of them had expected. The next morning, the jungle greeted Ravi and Mina with thick mist and the sweet smell of wet earth. They packed their bags, eager to explore the deeper parts of the ruins. The moss-covered path led them to towering stone walls and half-collapsed arches. Every step revealed carvings that told stories of ancient life, community, and celebrations. Ravi ran his fingers over the patterns, imagining the people who had built this place with care and devotion. Mina bent down to examine a flowering vine growing along one of the walls. This plant is rare, she said. It can survive in low sunlight because it stores water in its leaves. The people here must have lived closely with nature. Ravi smiled. And they left us these stories to discover. It's amazing. As they continued, clouds gathered above, darkening the sky. The wind picked up, and the first drops of rain began to fall. We need to find shelter, Ravi said, scanning the ruins. Mina pointed to a nearby cave hidden behind thick vines. That way. It should keep us dry. They ran through the rain, laughing as the water soaked their clothes. Reaching the cave, they shook off the water and sat down on the smooth stones inside. The cave was small but safe, and the sound of rain pattering outside created a peaceful rhythm. Ravi built a small fire using dry wood he had collected, and Mina watched as the flames came alive. The warmth and flickering light filled the cave, making the space feel cozy and safe. Outside, the jungle rumbled with thunder, but inside, the world felt calm. They shared simple food from their packs, eating quietly while listening to the storm. Then Mina opened her notebook and began sketching some of the carvings they had seen. Ravi watched her, admiring how focused and passionate she was. You really love this work, he said softly. I do, Mina replied, glancing up at him with a smile. And it's better when someone shares it with you. You notice things I might miss. Ravi felt a warmth in his chest. There was something comforting in her presence, something that made the jungle feel less wild and more like a place where they belonged together. As the fire crackled, Ravi spoke. I've always loved exploring ruins, but today, it feels different. Being here with you makes it feel alive. Mina's cheeks turned slightly pink. I feel the same. The jungle, the ruins, even the rain, it's all better because you're here. They sat quietly, listening to the storm, the fire, and each other's breathing. The moment was simple, yet it held a deep connection. Ravi reached over to brush a wet strand of hair from Mina's face, and she smiled, not moving away. Their hands lingered close, and the warmth between them grew. Later, Ravi suggested, let's try to rest for a while. The rain will stop soon, and we can continue exploring after. Mina nodded and leaned back against the cave wall. Ravi lay down nearby, keeping the fire between them. The soft sound of rain, mixed with their quiet breathing, created a sense of comfort neither had expected. They talked in whispers about their lives, their families, and dreams of future adventures. As the night deepened, the storm outside grew softer, the rain now a gentle drizzle. Ravi looked at Mina, her face glowing in the firelight. Tomorrow, he said, we'll discover more of the ruins. I can't wait to see what's next. Mina smiled, resting her head slightly closer to his shoulder. And I can't wait to share it with you. The cave seemed to protect them from the wild jungle outside, giving them a moment to connect not just as explorers, but as two people who had found trust, friendship, and a spark of something more. The ruins, the plants, and the storm all became part of a memory they would carry with them forever. By the time they drifted to sleep, the fire had dimmed, and the rain had almost stopped. Ravi felt a sense of peace he had never known on his adventures before. Tomorrow would bring new discoveries, new challenges, and more of the jungle's mysteries, but tonight, they shared a quiet, magical moment that neither would forget. The jungle hummed softly around them, a reminder that even in the wildest places, connection, trust, and a little spark of warmth could grow. The morning sun filtered through the jungle canopy, painting the ruins with warm light. Ravi and Mina packed up their small campsite, excitement running through them. Yesterday's storm had left the jungle sparkling and fresh, and they could hear the distant roar of the waterfall as they stepped onto the mossy path. Do you think the ruins get more mysterious the deeper we go? Mina asked, brushing a leaf from her shoulder. I think we're about to find out, Ravi replied, smiling. Every step has been full of surprises so far. The path led them around twisted tree roots and over small streams, deeper into the ruins than they had ventured before. Suddenly, Ravi's eyes caught a small opening partially hidden behind hanging vines. Look, he said. This might be a hidden chamber. It's hard to see from the main path. Mina's eyes widened with excitement. A hidden chamber? Let's check it out. They carefully pushed the vines aside and stepped inside. The air was cool and slightly musty, but it carried a sense of history and mystery. The chamber walls were covered with murals, faded but still vibrant in parts, showing scenes of people, animals, and plants. Some figures were holding hands, sharing food, or dancing around fires. Flowers and vines were intertwined with the human figures, almost as if nature itself was part of the community. Ravi ran his fingers over the carvings and painted symbols. These murals, they tell a story. Look at how the people are connected to the plants and animals. They must have lived in harmony with their jungle. Mina nodded, her eyes scanning the walls. And see here, she pointed to a series of figures moving together in a circle. It looks like a story of two explorers or leaders. They are guiding others, protecting the land, and sharing knowledge. It's beautiful. Ravi felt a thrill of discovery. It's like stepping into the past. I can almost imagine their lives. Meena moved closer, brushing some dirt away from one of the murals. I think this civilization valued teamwork, trust, and respect. They believed in community and in caring for nature. Maybe that's why the ruins lasted so long. As they studied the murals, a sense of quiet awe filled the chamber. The jungle outside seemed far away, and the two of them shared a moment of stillness, appreciating the lives of people long gone. Ravi glanced at Meena, noticing the way her eyes shone with excitement and wonder. He realized that sharing this moment with her made it even more special. "I'm glad you're here," Ravi said softly. "Exploring ruins like this is amazing, but it's even better with someone who understands it." Meena smiled, a hint of pink on her cheeks. "I feel the same. It's like we're discovering not just the ruins, but also each other's perspective. That makes it more meaningful." They continued to explore the chamber, finding small alcoves filled with stone carvings of animals, fruits, and people working together. Meena carefully sketched some of the murals in her notebook while Ravi documented the carvings with photos and notes. Every detail seemed important, and they were both absorbed in the process. Hours passed, and the sun began to lower, casting long shadows across the chamber walls. Ravi and Meena sat on a smooth stone ledge, looking at the murals in quiet reflection. "I never imagined ruins could feel so alive," Ravi said. "These murals show stories, emotions, and a connection to nature. It's inspiring." Meena leaned slightly closer to him. "And it reminds us that even though time passes, some values stay important. Cooperation, kindness, and caring for the world around us, those things never change." For a few minutes, they simply sat there, letting the quiet of the chamber and the presence of each other sink in. The thrill of discovery had brought them closer, not just as colleagues or friends, but as two people who shared an understanding of the world and its beauty. As they prepared to leave, Ravi looked back at the murals one last time. "Tomorrow," he said, "we'll explore the next section. Who knows what else we will find?" Meena nodded, smiling. "And whatever we find, we'll discover it together." Hand in hand, they stepped out of the chamber and into the fading light of the jungle. The ruins had given them more than knowledge, they had given them a shared experience, a bond, and the beginnings of a deeper connection that neither of them could ignore. The jungle around them was alive, yet calm, carrying the whispers of the past and the promise of more adventures to come. The sun had barely risen when Ravi and Meena set out, eager to explore the deeper sections of the ruins. The jungle was alive with the sounds of birds, insects, and the distant rush of water. The air was humid but fresh, filled with the scent of wet leaves and soil. Every step seemed to lead them closer to the heart of the ancient civilization. Ravi led the way carefully, scanning the ground for signs of stability. "The ruins are beautiful," he said, "but some parts look fragile. We need to watch our steps." Meena nodded, adjusting her backpack. "Agreed. But it's worth the risk. Imagine what we might discover today." As they rounded a moss-covered archway, they came upon a narrow stone bridge stretching over a small ravine. The stones were uneven, some cracked, and vines hung down from the sides. Ravi stepped forward first, testing each stone carefully. Meena followed, balancing herself with the help of her walking stick. Suddenly, a stone under Meena's foot shifted. She stumbled, and Ravi lunged forward instinctively, catching her arm. "Are you okay?" he asked, his voice filled with concern. Meena smiled, a little breathless. "Yes, thanks to you. That could have been bad." Ravi held her hand a moment longer than necessary, feeling the warmth and connection between them. We have to be careful. This place may be fragile, but it's also amazing. They continued across the bridge slowly, their steps synchronized, their trust in each other growing with every careful movement. On the other side, they found a small clearing where the ruins opened into a courtyard. In the center stood a tall stone column, covered with carvings and symbols, telling the story of a leader guiding people through challenges. Mina knelt down to examine a series of small inscriptions at the base of the column. These markings, they tell a story of courage and teamwork, she said. It feels like the people here wanted to teach future generations about unity. Ravi crouched beside her, pointing to a symbol of two figures standing together. Look at this one. They're supporting each other. That's something we can relate to, isn't it? Mina smiled, meeting his gaze. Yes, and it reminds me that sharing challenges makes everything easier. We've faced the jungle together, and I've never felt safer with anyone else. Ravi felt a flutter in his chest. I feel the same. Mina. I think I've felt this way for a while, but seeing you here, working and exploring, it's more than just friendship. Mina's cheeks warmed, and she looked down at her hands for a moment. Then, softly, she said, I feel it too, Ravi. I've tried to ignore it, but I care about you. For a brief moment, the jungle seemed to hold its breath. The carvings, the ruins, the whispering wind all felt like witnesses to this quiet confession. Ravi reached out, gently holding her hands in his. Then let's promise to face every adventure together from the ruins to everything beyond. Mina nodded, her eyes shining. Together. With their hearts lightened by the confession, they continued exploring. They discovered small chambers filled with pottery, broken tools, and more carvings depicting daily life in the ancient city. Each new find excited them, but it was the shared experience, the teamwork, the trust, and the budding affection that made the discoveries truly memorable. As the day wore on, they reached the edge of the ruins where the jungle seemed to press closer, almost guarding the ancient site. They paused to rest on a fallen stone wall, sharing a bottle of water and some fruit. Ravi watched Mina, noticing the way sunlight caught her hair and how her eyes sparkled when she spoke about her favorite plants. You know, he said softly, I've explored many places before, but this feels different. Not just because of the ruins, but because of you. Everything feels brighter, safer, and more exciting with you here. Mina smiled, leaning slightly closer. I feel the same. Exploring the jungle, discovering history, it's all better when shared with someone who understands you. They sat in comfortable silence for a few moments, the jungle humming around them, carrying the sounds of distant waterfalls, birds, and rustling leaves. The ruins had given them adventure, the challenges had given them trust, and now, their shared feelings had created a bond that neither could ignore. As the sun began to lower, casting golden light across the ancient stones, Ravi stood and offered Mina his hand. Shall we head back to camp before it gets dark? Mina took his hand, squeezing it lightly. Yes, but I think we both know that tomorrow will bring even more surprises and more discoveries. They walked back slowly, their steps in sync, hearts light with excitement and affection. The jungle around them seemed to celebrate their courage, their connection, and the quiet magic of shared adventure. Tonight, the ruins would rest in silence, but the memory of confessions, trust, and new beginnings would linger in Ravi and Mina's hearts forever. The next morning, Ravi and Mina woke to the soft sounds of birds singing and the distant rush of the waterfall. The jungle was alive, fresh after the previous day's rain. Today, they planned to explore the deepest parts of the ruins, places untouched by most explorers and hidden beneath layers of vines and moss. "Are you ready for the final adventure?" Ravi asked, adjusting his backpack. Meena smiled brightly. "I've never been more ready. Who knows what we'll find today?" They carefully followed a narrow stone path leading deeper into the jungle. The air was thick with humidity, and sunlight barely reached the ground through the dense canopy. Every step revealed new carvings, strange symbols, and evidence of how the ancient civilization lived in harmony with the jungle. After some time, they arrived at a large clearing where a tall, vine-covered temple rose from the ground. Its stone walls were weathered but still magnificent, with carvings of people, plants, and animals intertwined. It was the heart of the ruins, and neither of them had expected something so breathtaking. "This must be it," Ravi said in awe. "The final chamber of the ruins." Meena walked closer, her eyes wide. "It's beautiful, like the jungle itself grew around it to protect it." They carefully entered the temple. The air inside was cool and still, and the sunlight filtering through cracks in the walls highlighted murals depicting celebrations, teamwork, and unity. Figures danced around fires, carried baskets of food, and tended to plants and animals. The carvings told stories of love, courage, and respect for nature. Ravi and Meena explored the chamber together, touching the smooth carvings and sketching the patterns. Their excitement was shared in quiet whispers, laughter, and the occasional gasp of wonder. Every discovery brought them closer, not just as explorers, but as two people who trusted and admired each other deeply. "This civilization valued connection," Ravi said softly. "Look at how the murals show people supporting each other and living in harmony with nature. It's inspiring." Meena nodded, brushing some dust from one of the carvings. "And we can learn from it too. Working together, caring for each other, that's what makes everything possible. Just like we've done here in the jungle." Ravi looked at her, feeling a rush of warmth. "I think this adventure has taught me more than I expected, not just about ruins or history, but about sharing experiences with someone you care about." Meena smiled, leaning slightly closer. "I feel the same. Being here with you, it's more than just exploration. It's about connection, trust, and discovery in every sense." They continued to explore, discovering small alcoves filled with pottery, stone tools, and carvings showing children learning from elders. Meena pointed out a series of symbols depicting two explorers guiding their community through challenges. Ravi realized that these murals reflected their own journey, trusting each other, facing dangers, and discovering the jungle together. The deeper they went, the more alive the temple seemed. Vines and flowers intertwined with stone, creating a sense of magic in the air. Birds nested in hidden corners, and sunlight fell like a spotlight on the carvings, highlighting their beauty. Ravi and Meena shared quiet moments, brushing hands as they examined murals, laughing softly at the small discoveries, and teasing each other about who noticed more details. As the sun began to set, the temple glowed in golden light. Ravi and Meena stood in the main hall, taking in the entire chamber. The carvings, the jungle, and the shared adventure created a sense of unity, excitement, and quiet joy. They held hands, realizing that their journey had become more than an exploration of ruins. It was a journey of friendship, trust, and budding love. "This moment," Ravi said softly, "is one I'll never forget. Not because of the ruins, but because of you." Meena's eyes shone. "And I'll never forget it either. We discovered something more than history today. We discovered each other." Hand in hand, they stepped outside the temple as the jungle's evening chorus filled the air. The sun dipped behind the trees, casting long shadows across the ruins. They knew that the jungle had kept its secrets safe for centuries, but it had given them a gift they could carry forever: a shared adventure, trust, laughter, and the quiet beginning of a deep connection. As they set up camp near the temple for the night, Ravi and Meena laughed softly over the day's discoveries and shared plans for tomorrow's journey back. The ruins had given them memories, joy, and a sense of unity that neither had expected when they first entered the jungle together. Tonight, the jungle was calm. Stars twinkled through the gaps in the canopy, and the distant waterfall sang its gentle song. Ravi and Meena sat by their small fire, hands brushing, hearts full of hope, and minds alive with dreams of more adventures both in the ruins and in life, together. The morning sun painted the jungle in golden light, and Ravi and Meena packed their belongings for the journey back. The ruins behind them seemed even more alive now, each stone and carving a reminder of the adventure they had shared. Birds chirped overhead, and the distant waterfall provided a gentle soundtrack to their departure. Ravi looked at Meena as they walked along the mossy path. "It's strange to leave," he said softly. "After all we've discovered here, it feels like we're leaving a part of ourselves behind." Meena nodded, brushing a fallen leaf from her shoulder. "I feel the same. But we're taking something with us too: the memories, the knowledge, and each other." They moved carefully through the jungle, retracing their steps across narrow paths and over streams. Every twist and turn reminded them of moments they had shared: the laughter with the playful monkeys, the thrill of discovering hidden carvings, and the quiet evenings in the cave and by the temple. Each memory brought a smile, and they found themselves holding hands more naturally now, their bond growing stronger with every step. At one point, they stopped at a small clearing where sunlight filtered through the canopy. Ravi pointed to a cluster of ruins partially hidden by vines. "Remember when we first saw this?" he asked, smiling. "I was so nervous about what we might find." Meena laughed softly. "And I was worried about the plants. But we faced it together, and it made the experience unforgettable." They sat for a moment, taking in the view. The jungle stretched endlessly, wild and untamed, but also beautiful and alive. The ruins had stood here for centuries, hidden and mysterious, and now they had been a part of its story, leaving behind respect and care. As they continued, the path led them to a small river where they had first crossed on shaky stones. Ravi paused and looked at Meena. "I think the jungle taught us something important. It's not just about discovery or adventure, it's about connection. With the world and with each other." Meena smiled warmly. "Yes. And we found both. The jungle, the ruins, and a friendship that means so much more now." They crossed the river carefully, laughing as a few fish splashed nearby. The jungle around them seemed to acknowledge their journey, with birds singing and leaves rustling in a gentle breeze. Every step felt lighter, filled with the joy of shared experience and newfound trust. Eventually, they reached the edge of the jungle where the path opened to the road that would take them back to the nearest village. Ravi paused, looking back at the dense greenery and the ruins nestled within. "Goodbye, jungle. Thank you for everything." Meena stood beside him, her hand in his. "Goodbye. We'll carry your secrets and beauty with us always." As the sun rose higher, they walked down the road together, talking about their plans to return someday. They knew the ruins would remain mysterious to most, but for them, the adventure had been more than just exploring ancient stones. It had been about discovering trust, teamwork, and the beginning of a deeper bond. Ravi glanced at Meena, feeling a warmth in his chest. "I think this journey changed me," he said softly. "Not just as an explorer, but as a person. I want more adventures with you, in the jungle and beyond." Mina squeezed his hand gently. I'd like that too. We make a good team, Ravi. And now, we know we can face anything together. As they reached the village, the sounds of people and daily life greeted them, a contrast to the quiet, mysterious jungle. But they carried the magic of the ruins and the jungle in their hearts, a bond strengthened by every challenge and discovery they had shared. Before parting ways to rest, Ravi looked at Meena and smiled. This isn't the end. It's just the beginning. There's so much more to explore together. Meena returned his smile, her eyes reflecting the sunlight. Together, she said softly. With that promise, they walked toward their next adventure, their hearts light, their spirits high, and their connection undeniable. The jungle ruins would remain a secret, hidden from the world, but the memories, the lessons, and the quiet romance it had nurtured would stay with them forever. And so, Ravi and Meena left the jungle, carrying more than artifacts. They carried friendship, trust, joy, and the beginning of a bond that would grow stronger with every adventure they shared. The ruins behind them stood silent, ancient, and eternal, but the story of two explorers discovering not only history, but each other, had become part of its timeless magic.